to Forge of Champions Grand Finals. My name's Jake Matthews. I'm joined by Orcs and Celtic Tiger. I can't bother to do your full names.
That's fair.
Diabolus were able to pull out a miracle win there in convincing fashion as well. They were on the verge of just going out 3-0 to Misfits. They come out looking strong in Game 3. They come out looking refreshed. But Afflict did have a couple of good Dragon Steals. We can't take that away from him. But outside of that, it was that was all Misfits had that game.
Yeah, I think it was off the back of that one Froggy Boy that Tahm Kench really came in critical there. Offering the safety to the backline of Diabolus while also having the rotation power of being able to ult from miles away and bring a teammate with you. I think that's definitely something that Misfits going to look to take away. Might end up being a first rotation ban, because I feel like if they don't ban it in the first rotation, then Diabolus is just going to prioritize it early themselves. But yeah, and they're on blue side as well, so they could even first pick if they wanted to.
I think Trundle Tahm Kench gave them so much control over when to start fights. They just pillar someone in, so Tahm Kench behind the pillar, because by the time they get there, the Abyssal Voyage is finished, and suddenly they're just swarmed by numbers.
I mean, it's what we've seen repeatedly out of the Tahm Kench. So we've talked about it just before we got into the game. We think the Tahm Kench should be banned, but what do you sacrifice taking away from Balulu if you go for that? But we will be going into pick the bans in a second, so can see exactly what these teams are banning. So far, Diabolus sticking to their normal
LeBlanc Akali,
taking away the LeBlanc. Can't obviously play that Akali, so they have to ban it blue side, so that's very big. But maybe Misfits just continue their support bans and just target Balulu's more supportive mid lane style.
I mean, I think they are definitely going to keep the Galio banned. The question is, do you keep the Orianna available, the Luna available? I mean, they might end up just banning all three again. Not think it's worth giving one of those up for the Tahm Kench, but in my personal opinion, that was a big issue. I would lean towards the Lulu, because I feel like Lulu can cut down a lot of the aggressive picks Special likes to play, but it could go either way. I don't know what your opinion is on it.
I think you leave the 3 bans and pick yourself up something, because if they go for the Rise again and they try to flex that top, they lose out quite a bit. Yeah. So I think it's actually fine if they just leave it and basically try to play Game 2 all over again.
Yeah, but I feel like it's now in a situation with Diabolus. I feel like they genuinely will take the Tahm Kench first pick if they get the ability to. I feel like that's a decisive factor in their game, and I think if they ban the Lulu in this third ban here, I mean, yeah, I could genuinely see it coming out from Diabolus. It's up to them, but I think if they do leave that Tahm Kench over the first pick, Misfits should definitely try and deny it by taking it themselves.
I think getting Varus Braum would be big. I think getting Varus Braum even into the Tahm Kench it's difficult to play against the Tahm Kench later on. But I think Misfits could just try to get better vision, and that's why I actually like this with the Varus, because clearly they can play the Tahm Kench, so they don't need as high a priority on the Braum.
But what's open for Misfits right now? Tahm Kench is available, the Trundle's available, the Braum is still available. There's lots of options open to Misfits at the moment, and I'm curious to see what they decide to lock in here. I assume we'll probably see the Braum, because you don't want to give Diabolus that Braum Varus lane.
Based on how they've drafted, they'll go Braum Sedge, because that's a combo they really like to use. But that is what they lost with last game, so they might want to mix things up. Sedge is coming in for Afflict. It's a contested pick between both of them.
They could try bait out the Braum and have a counter in mind.
Yeah,
if they have a counter in mind, something like the Pike.
I guess you could take an AD carry here. Something just versatile like Tristana. But it looks like they're just going to go towards that Braum Sejuani. And it seems like Diabolus will no doubt go towards that Tahm Kench. So Misfits clearly thinking Tahm Kench wasn't a massive issue there. There is one thing, is that Flaxys isn't going to be able to freely pick up that Gangplank here because he won't have the counter pick. Might be in a more favorable situation here for Misfits.
I think maybe Misfits are looking at this as, okay, if we fix our early game, our comp is still great. We can still go for something like that.
Whoa, okay. Confidence from Flaxish, blinding that GP. But there's still so much open to Misfits now towards that if they want to look to counter this top lane.
I think they still like the idea of global comp.
Like something that can duel the Gangplank, potentially like the Nar. Any counters in mind, they might well be banned away by Diabolus.
I'm really liking the fact they do at least ban that Trundle away, deny that pillar that we were talking about was so impactful in these rotations. That's now going to be off the board. What's open to NG still? I mean, the Gragas is still up if that doesn't get banned away. There's still quite a few things for NG we can maybe see him picking.
Yeah, and the nice thing here is they don't have a great front line. So if you leave the Kindred open and that's one of the best counter picks, it's very unlikely that Diabolus will want that as they'll lack engage.
Well, Relia gets taken away from Diabolus. Just targeting special here.
For Misfits.
The question... Sorry, yeah. The question for me is, do we see the counter pick top again? Oh, yeah, no, sorry. I mean, the counter pick mid, obviously, because
yeah, so that's
already picked. So
the one thing is that by picking the Gangplank this early, assuming it is going top lane, it does give Misfits 2 counter picks.
And I really like, again, this ban phase 2, as I was just touching on with the Kindred. You want to kind of bait them into something like that. You want to remove their engage options, because right now, they're going to really struggle. Without a support that engages, without a top laner that engages, there's not as many options for Diabolus left up here.
Yeah, it does beg the question. Right now, we expect to see a top lane pick coming in for Shikari. What will he play into that Gangplank? Played the Ornn last time, but now going for the Cho'Gath. So has the counter pick, but doesn't necessarily feel like he's going to play something like the Gnar, which has potential to do well in 1v1. He's happy to be the tank player for his team. He's done it well so far, and even getting 2 solo kills in the last game on a Flaxish. Once again, go from this Cho'Gath.
Yeah, and previously that was actually blind into the Gangplank. This time picks up the Cho'Gath otherwise, and yes, they need engage, and it's safe into Sejuani. It's something that we've seen picked into Sejuani very consistently in other leagues.
Yeah, it would be a solid pick here. Question is, what will Balulu blind? Doesn't know what special will play against him, but a lot of his picks banned away.
I think Balulu can be relatively okay with the Syndra, considering that he picked it blind last time, and the Yasuo was brought into counter, and they still managed to do okay against it.
It's a fair point. Does lock it in, and that means it's now on special. What he's going to counter pick with, again, Yasuo had some good moves in the early game, but later on just didn't have the impact he wanted. Needs to provide a lot of damage, because other than the Ezreal, not much coming out from his team. And you can see Zen, a questioning look on his face, not sure what they should take.
Maybe Special just said, you know what, I can play. Said something and Zen went, are you sure, mate?
I
like
like
sure
this. I was actually going to say consistent damage with the Rise taken away, considering that Special's best performance was on the Rise. I really like the idea of Cassiopeia, something that was often matched into the Rise and honestly did roughly similar things for it. Is something I'd like to see Special bring out here.
I think Misfits have given Diabolus a similar composition in terms of they still have that Varus Tom, they still have that GP, but they've said we have slightly better teals to deal with it. We have a safer mid laner in the Cassiopeia, doesn't have to go quite so deep in, and Ezreal gonna have the mobility so won't get caught out so easily from engage. They haven't completely overhauled the draft from Game 3, thinking there wasn't that many issues, but they have shored up some things. Will that be enough, however? Because if they drop this game, it's going to an all-or-nothing Game 5, so the pressure is starting to heat up on those bunny rabbits.
Diabolus have a lot of really good pressure to put down. Like, if you throw down Gangplank and even things like the Tam Kench, there's a lot of very quick engage with the Varus followed up by the Zac. It can be very difficult to deal with and very difficult to predict with the Abyssal Voyage and the Elastic Slingshot.
Yeah, so much engage potential is the big thing. I think it's just the plan for Misfits is just to counteract that, and then if you end up Abyssal Voyaging into a Cassiopeia ult, that is probably the worst case scenario. Wouldn't be a favorable situation, but a lot of mobility. I mean, even Cassiopeia can be a bit of a slippery target, but the Ezreal so mobile. Braum has the means to be a champion appeal, good disengage, again from the Sejuani as well. I think it's going to be harder for Diabolus to pull this off, but they still have the tools which they used in the last game, and they still have the potential to.
Now, looking at what Cassiopeia is going to be building, do you think it's going to be that Abyssal Mask? Is it going to be the Rower, just all the tier build?
You'd expect some magic resist into the likes of Syndra. The question, I mean, considering that it's a champion that can't build Merc Treads, the very likely choice is the Abyssal Mask.
So unfortunate, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, an extra item that way, though. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you don't need boots when your passive gives you boots, so you just get
Special
extra
is
item.
a confident player, though. Be interesting to see if he definitely does go towards Rod of Ages, because it does give him more bulkiness, but slows down his spike. And if you're trying to match up your power spike with the Ezreal, because you're not a Rise thing. Rise is happy to go that because the mana is going to give you more damage, but the Cassiopeia does end up feeling a bit weak in the mid game, and that's when Ezreal really wants to be pushing his advantages. So there are a lot of options for the Cassiopeia. Guess we will get to see. I think Seraph's Oblivion Orb is the big, I want a really hard impact mid game.
Well, game number 4. We are here. Diabolus
We have
able
a series
to
on our hands.
fight off Misfits. The Bunnies are now trying to get themselves that win. They just need one more win, and they lock themselves a spot at the group stages of the European Masters. They lock themselves as the first team to win the Forge of Champions.
And Shikari would lock himself as 3-time in a row UK scene winner. So a lot on the table. It would be Misfits reigning champions as well, returning from last split where they came victorious. So Diabolus fighting an uphill battle. They are the underdogs, but they have brought a game back. And going into the second one, they've given themselves some good tools to secure another victory.
The one
Can
thing
they pull it off?
The one thing we haven't talked about is that previously Shikari picked Ornn, then got countered with the Gangplank and managed to get 2 solo kills. This time, specifically picked into the Gangplank with the Cho'Gath.
So you're expecting 3 solo kills?
Yeah, the question is, can he have the same kind of dominating performance?
I mean, I think if you go right, just Glory Rush into the Gangplank and you start to get ahead, you can just run him down. I'm pretty sure I think it was an A in the playoffs. You get the righteous glow, and as soon as you get a lead, you just run the Gangplank down. There's not very much he can do because, yes, you have orange, but it's not going to do much against the slow from either your Rupture or your Empowered Auto attacks, and then you just chomp him down.
But the fact that he's got that grasp this time, because last time we saw him on the Cho'Gath, he ran Meteor. This time it's the grasp, so he does have that more kind of auto attack dueling early power.
Yeah, I think it's more understandable, even though Gangplank's a pseudo melee champion because he has that range parlay. It is better into melee champions, whereas he took that Comet into a matchup where he did have the rage disadvantage when he was up against the Rise.
Yeah, well, Shikari running a little bit low on health for the moment as Flaxish is winning out a couple of these fights, but Shikari with his passive should be able to heal up nice and safe as NG and Afflict had a bit of a scrap here, and Afflict actually was able to get both of those Rift Heralds.
Afflict Heralds, yeah, both of those Rift Heralds at 3 minutes, yeah, definitely.
I think Afflict.
Rift Scuttlers. Mate, it has been a long day.
It has been. It's been a long series with these teams still battling out, and that's where endurance really can come in. You start to make mistakes you wouldn't normally make, as we're making mistakes without talking.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that
Afflict
has also kind of put his own stamp of the game now. He's gone, I'm going to smite fight you every single time, once again, and I'll win.
Yeah, he did pretty good with that last game. I got to commend him. Wasn't enough to turn around.
Yeah.
But NG, and that's the thing, is it's about confidence. You're against Afflict this entire series, and you're now thinking, well, 2 times in a row on these Infernal Dragons, he outsmited me. It's going to call things into question. There's going to be nerves. Your team will say, can we go for a 50-50? You'll say, I don't know. And it puts some uncertainty in there.
Oh, Prosper and Chrisberg. It's going a little bit aggressive, but Prosper does actually take the worst end of that trade. M-Test now running a little bit lower on mana. Chrisberg with that Kleptomancy can be lucky and get himself a mana pot, so he's pretty content. He's actually chugging a mana pot as we speak. So
you know, it'd be great if with Kleptomancy there was like a really, really small chance, like 0.01%, you get like a full item. Just like you Q someone and you get like an Infinity Edge, like, oh, why not?
Damn, I got a tank item. Stuck with this adaptive helm.
But you wouldn't want to get a Infinity Edge, would you really? Like,
no, but like it's you're just like,
I mean, you'd take it.
Yeah, level 4, you Q someone, he's got a full Infinity Edge, you're like, oh, why not? Guess I'm going crit Ezreal, guys.
Unfortunately, or probably fortunately, Kleptomancy is at least, there's at least an attempt at balance there by only allowing you to
don't let me on the balance team, really don't.
Yeah, you come up with terrible ideas, but Shikari having a bit of a 1v1 with Flaxish. Flaxish dancing away.
There.
He's actually missed so much, but also dodging out. Afflict's coming in. Those permafrosts are starting to stack up. Flashed out once again. That's going to be the E to probably.
Oh, that was early.
Oranged in time. This time, Afflict knows exactly what Flaxish's game is, and first blood is picked up by Misfits.
Not quite a solo kill, but he does get one on the board thanks to Afflict.
And that was actually a misplay there just right at the end. I don't think it would have saved Flaxish in this case, but certainly he threw out the oranges before the stun came through, and that meant he had no way out once that hit.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation because I felt like if he left the oranges later,
you need
probably
to heal too.
Died. Yeah.
I think he was dead no matter what after that flash came through.
Yeah, and the big thing is that Shikari and Afflict, neither of them burn flashes themselves. Really easy to set up if they want to return gank on Flaxish, who is now 20 CS behind in this matchup. Yes, he gets some alone time to recover that. I don't think he's going to get quite that much.
Lulu needs to be careful. Special can always go with that flash petrifying gaze, Afflict hanging in the wings, and
I mean, he
saw Amphirax make his way down to that wave to try and push it so Balulu could get a favourable base, but
you say
Special doesn't mind.
Yeah, you say you could go for that, but Balulu does have cleanse. I don't think that much aggression is going to come out, but you can see he is erring on the side of safety. Special has the pressure advantage and a 20 CS lead. This is what we'd expect and why he went for this Cassiopeia. Very confident on this pick, and even these early levels where maybe Cassiopeia isn't the powerhouse we expect from him later, he is confident and will push the advantage.
The biggest issue that the Zac pick has is that it's not really much of a champion until it hits at the level 6 mark. So with that, it means that NG can't really get into the lanes early like Afflict can, and it's handed over things like that first blood, and for now, the pressure advantage.
those early stretching strikes, just not stretching strikes, sorry, those early elastic slingshots just have such a short range. You need to put points in them to actually get the most potential out of it.
On top of that, you also can't bring people back with
Shikari has
your
ulti,
ultimate.
by the way. Flaxis is taking a fair chunk of damage. Will pop the pillar. That's going to be the feast. The flash forward. Shikari once again finds a solo kill onto Flaxis.
And there's the solo kills we were waiting for.
Third time in 2 games he's solo killed on a tank into Gangplank. It just really shouldn't be happening. And this is a top laner, Flaxis, who has played on the LCS stage. And here he is getting shown up by
Yeah, dude, it's starting to look like his days back in LCS because these were some rough lane
you guys need
phases.
to chill out. You guys are mean.
I never said I wasn't. I've never claimed to be anything but.
I mean, the man's harsh, but the man's true. Unfortunate situation for Flaxis. Now 0-2-0, and yes, Gangplank is going to be a late game powerhouse. But the thing is, unlike the Ornn, if Shikari gets ahead and gets an early Righteous Glory, you can actually just run down the Gangplank almost permanently until he gets to the later stages. So, bit of a dicey situation, and we will see the cool overlay. Yeah, so
we just transition into the lane we're already watching.
Yeah, it was actually a magic trick. Now you see me. Now you do. Oh, no, you do. You still see us.
It was a quick, time travel, 1 second into the future.
Here we are. Let's see Shikari just solo out Flaxis. I mean, there's not really a lot of analysm to do here.
Well, it's actually because he hits the Rupture here, it lands a slow, he's just on the edge. He uses the oranges to try and reduce the slow, but there, he is so dead. The flash at the end just to secure the kill. It's just the consistent damage Cho'Gath has. It's why he picked this matchup into the Gangplank.
Here's a flick.
Saying that, Seymour fighting here.
Anthrax does eat up his ADC for the moment. The flash comes out. That's going to be the Chains of Corruption to go down as well. And M-Test not going to be able to work through Prosper, but putting a fair chunk of damage into him. Tongue Lash comes out from Anthrax, takes a Winter's Bite, and both the supports go low. ADCs are pretty content, but Chrisberg, with no mana, is getting engaged on. And
what a flash!
Great stretching strikes, kidnaps one back. That's going to be Prosper instantly out as Chrisberg is forced to jump over the wall with the Arcane Shift, and Diabolus are able to answer out and find himself a kill.
That was a really good turnaround from Diabolus. They bought so much time. Anthrax picks up M-Test and flashes away. And then off the back end, the GP ultimate.
Special! Oh, Balulu with a flash!
Finds the play onto him. Special did not count for that, and it was a good flash with the...
Nope.
Not today. Balulu gets a solo kill, and Diabolus showing Game 3 wasn't a fluke. They have some life in them.
Once again, just utilizing the Tahm Kench really well. Able to set himself a kill, but then this time, Balulu with a solo kill onto Special. We heard from Leader before that last game saying the mid lane mismatch is where the biggest problem's coming from here. Balulu's warmed up. We're 4 games in. He's got a win under his belt. He's feeling a little bit more confident, and he gets a good solo kill onto Special in that mid lane.
The thing is, though, he's now down his summoners. Oh, we are actually going to see a replay, so we can talk about this. And ult comes in, and Special ends up taking a stun as well. Final Q actually comes in now, and I feel like Special, you didn't expect to be caught by that. Yeah. Walked out, walked back in. That's why the flash wasn't used. Got baited, and it was really solid 1v1 mechanics by Balulu. The problem is now, he is down his summoners. Misfits might look to punish.
Oh, Prosper is going to try and make his way in. They've got themselves the grounded down. Trying to get a bit of damage, but Balulu's out. Prosper flashes forward with the ulti to pin him in place. Balulu running low, gets locked up, and Special, with the help of Prosper, is able to get himself a kill into the mid lane. It's been returned.
Yeah, and as great as that outplay was from Balulu, at the end of the day, that return kill still comes in. It's a good punish.
But what's the cost?
Are you going to punish?
Return?
They're going to lose so much damage onto this bot lane. Not going to go down, fortunately, for the side of Misfits, but Diabolus recognize with Prosper leaving the lane, they're able to punish, and they're able to put a lot of damage down onto this turret.
They're still under pressure here. You have Afflict nearby, but I'm not sure they want to stay there very long, and now it's also NG there who can help them out.
Yeah.
Got past that level 6 mark. Zac can be extremely strong engaged right now.
This is one of the things I've really enjoyed about watching M-Test in this series. Every time he can weave that little cheeky auto attack into the turret, he will. You see a lot of few ADCs don't even step forward to get that auto attacking in case they get caught out.
Well, I think
M-Test has so much faith in the fact that Anthrax is on this
I think that's a big factor.
He can step forward.
They haven't spotted Zac yet. They think they have the ward. They think they're safe. Zac can get a full engage at this range.
He's going to go over. That's going to be one. Teleport already channeled as Chrisberg is going to Arcane Shift out. The left bounce isn't enough. And now Anthrax with the Gobble being used onto the tank. But Afflict is here with his ultimate. Going to lock down the Tahm Kench. It could be Catfish on the menu. A knockout comes down. And Shikari and the rest of the team turn it around. Afflict finds his second kill on the Sejuani. And now we see Misfits maybe go for first turret blood of their own.
And This is not a safe place for MTES to stay either. He can be dove quite easily.
Yeah, we'll have to back off here, but Deep Deal comes in, does save the day. Such a powerful ultimate in that regard. And now Flax is having some alone time topside. Someone who's very far behind is going to put some damage into that turret.
Just sitting on that Sheen though, so it's going to be a little bit off. As the Flicked, actually, his base is cancelled. NG's making a rotation once again into this bot lane, and you need to be very careful if you're Chrisberg. You could get caught out as Blulu running low on mana, getting a little bit scared from Special, who's sitting on his blue buff.
Interestingly, Special not going for the Abyssal Mask that we thought might come out against the Blulu Syndra, instead leaning towards the Roa, as you mentioned. You want to try hit that spike at the same time as Ezreal. However, this does leave you potentially vulnerable to ganks.
And speaking of ganks, there's potential for the teleport now. Flaxfish,
here's the gank.
Teleport. This will be one going through. Special, you're going to get pulled in, throws out the ultimate, but the Petrifying Gaze actually buys him his life, and Special slivers to safety.
Blulu didn't have the mana to throw the ult down.
Yeah, that was the big issue then. If you look at his items, he's gone for as much damage as possible, doesn't have the mana pool, and then the difference was Special had a blue, Blulu didn't, and the punish isn't there despite Special going so aggressive.
Misfits need to be a little bit careful. They are going to use the True Shot Barrage, but MTES seconds away from getting that Chains of Corruption. And meanwhile, the rest of the team making a rotation towards this top side of the map, wanting to try and steal away the blue buff, deny that from Blulu, who's been struggling with his mana bar for a while.
Yeah, and I think he went for the confidence play, wanted more damage for the 1v1, but because of that, he hasn't picked up any mana pieces. Will base for it now, but without a blue, might be in a bit of trouble.
Speaking of mana problems, the reason MTES can't punish Chrisberg here is he's just He can't actually throw down the Chains of Corruption quite yet. NG is hanging in the wings, though. Will get spotted onto the ward if he steps forward into this bush. Charging up that Elastic Slingshot. Prosper not going to get caught out. Uses that Glacial Fissure for the moment. And Chrisberg now still untouched in the fight. Auto-attacking after auto-attacking as MTES still completely still completely low on mana. And Chrisberg and Prosper hold their nerve to the gank and able to step away.
And I think just a lack of follow-up from the Varus was the big issue there. As you said, out of mana or unable to follow up on the Zac engage. And just, this is why we said the Ezreal pick was good. Extra safety for the bot side. Anthrax could actually be in trouble here.
I mean, they're just stopping the bases. They're going to have to try and get out. A flip with a great Arctic Assault. Moves over the wall, looking for the stretching strikes. Connects two together. Prosper goes low. The True Shot Barrage is just not enough as Prosper falls down. Afflict is forced to flash over the wall, and he's going in with the Unleashed Power. That's going to be a shutdown. And Diabolus have found themselves too. Special is making his way down with that blue buff. Does not have his flash available. True Shot Barrage goes a little bit wide. Doesn't quite connect onto Anthrax, but with the Miasma, trying to pin them in place. Special misses out the ultimate and will not be able to answer back. Diabolus punished perfectly in this bot lane.
Yeah, I thought a lot more would happen there when Special came down, but unable to find the window without his flash. Wave will get cleared, but actually, TP gonna come in from Braum. Yeah, using that Summoner Spellbook. Gonna try and punish Anthrax.
Anthrax running very, very low. NG joined up with the rest of the team as well here on full HP, and Misfits just going to continue their siege here in this bot lane. Turret's running a little bit low. Curious to see actually how Flaxish and Shikari's top lane is going, because we've had a lot of attention put towards this bot lane. Curious to see how this is going to go, as Cannon Barrage once again is used defensively to clear out the wave.
Yeah, well, the big thing here is Shikari still has the pressure, has that Righteous Glory so can run Flaxish down, but for now, Flaxish is able to clear the waves under tower. At this level 11 point, more points in his barrel, shorter time for it to tick down as well, so it's a lot easier time just clearing the waves out.
Afflict looking to get himself the Rift Herald, the first one, well, the only one of the game, funnily enough, because they only spawn once and should be able to do so. I wonder if they just give Shikari the stack here. Yes, they do. How nice of them.
Yeah, he actually picked up both the first and last Rift Herald of the game.
First tower going over on the other side.
Where do they use their Rift Herald? They have to use their Rift Herald mid now to try and continue to pressure Blulu, but
big thing is that there is an Infernal Dragon on the table. Both teams will no doubt want to contest that. Misfits looking to apply the Rift Herald pressure mid and potentially move down to it. How will Diabolus respond?
Shikari doesn't have his teleport. That's going to be one of the major things you do need to watch. Rift Herald will secure this turret for the side of Misfits. Not going to get that second charge out of it, as Blulu will be stuck dealing with the Rift Herald for a little bit. But actually, maybe it does get its charge. Okay, second charge out. That's really, really good for Misfits.
The big thing here as well, even with taking first tower, they only evened the gold. And now with those towers going down, it's Misfits again who've gone into the lead.
Special could get caught, actually. Barrel chain does connect onto him. Prosper's making his way through. Special trying to stay alive, but the barrels are there. That's going to be Balulu with the unleashed power, able to get a kill. Prosper forced to flash over the wall, and Diabolus find himself a kill onto the mid laner. Shikari is going to join up with his support to make sure he's nice and safe. And there's going to be no return play from the side of Misfits, so Diabolus punish.
Yeah, they now have to shove out the mid wave. Looks like they will try and get that advantage after taking down the mid laner. Will they push for the tower? Looks like they're going to rotate towards the Infernal Dragon. No, that's the bigger objective on the table. I'm confident in
A Flick likes Infernals.
Well, yeah, the Flick likes...
Would go for the steal.
Yeah, it looks like they're not confident in NG's might, actually. Understandably
Flick likes Infernals as much as Scoundrel really likes his cuddly Poro he's got over there. Giving it a good old
He does
hug.
have a big old cuddly Poro. The Poro King has joined us for most of Fortnite Champions, actually.
I mean, they've missed the time. NG's going to look for the steal, but I'm not as confident as I was.
NG, it's time for your redemption.
No, I think Shikari's going to
Shikari.
It's very hard, but I had faith in him. Unfortunately, my faith
They do trade that
misled.
tower. They do trade that for top tower, so not the worst for Diabolus here. And they end up actually going slightly into it, a very slight lead, effectively evening the gold out here for both sides.
Yeah, 500 lead. Can't complain too much about that. You got to look at where the gold is. 3 kills onto Balulu Syndra. A lot of power here.
Oh, Chrisberg. Okay.
It's Ezreal. too hypey, too hypey.
I was like, can he see that blue guy flying in there?
He arcane shifted away. What a play from Chris Biggs. Such heads-up positioning.
You got hyper than me for an arrow earlier, so you can pipe down.
It was a big arrow.
It was a big arrow. It got a kill.
It was an empowered arrow.
It was a lethality arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, ever since Zach goes those much needed nerfs that you get told where he's landing.
That's no fun.
Yeah, it used to be you just had to do it with complete guesswork.
As a support player, you should think that's fun because you don't want him just appearing on top of your ADC.
Separates the good support from bad support.
Ooh. Sorry, danger here. I'm messing my words up. That's going to be the ulti to pin him in place. Cannon Barrage is there. Amphorax eats up his support to make sure he is going to be okay. And MTES makes his way out with his life. And once again, Flaxis defensively Cannon Barrage just to defend this bot lane. But this time it will finally fall down as Misfits are going to be able to get this turret.
Flaxis threw out the TP there as well. Don't know why. Bad decision. Cancelled it. That's an unnecessary cooldown.
At least he cancelled it. We saw Shikari in the last game completing these unnecessary teleports and then just forced to run away or burn a summoner spell.
Speaking of Shikari versus Flaxis, look at the items now on this Cho'Gath. A Warmogs and a Righteous Glory. It's not the situation where Flaxis just can't poke this Cho'Gath out due to the disdain from the Warmogs, and if there's ever an opportunity where he oversteps, Righteous Glory active will come in and he'll be able to run him down. Not a fun situation for the Gangplank, who really wants to keep scaling up for a lot longer. And then going on the path of items, we have the Triforce Mirror Mana Spike completed on Chris Big.
Ooh. Doesn't hit anyone.
Oh, he hit
the wave.
You say minions don't count?
I say minions don't count, no.
Oh.
I think you have to hit someone with it. But I mean, it's only a Triforce Mana Mune, so it's not going to really chunk people yet, but that is still a big
Mirror
power
Mana's
spike.
finished, actually.
Yeah, so it will be big Mystic Shots, not shocks. And another thing is the fact that Special has that Archangel Staff. Once they finish that Sarah soon, will stack up quickly with the complete item. I feel like that's when you have the big spike and you want to look to force, because your Ezreal's going to be strong, your Cassiopeia's going to be kicking out a lot of damage before the Gangplank becomes an issue.
You can already see the pings going down in Baron. Guys, it's spawned. This could be the end game. We can see it.
Oh, God.
No, they're just looking to get vision control over the area. You can see Misfits don't want to give that over. And on the other side, this is perfect for Diabolus. They want people to be kind of forced to play around a specific area as they have long-range engage.
They use the blast cone to get out of that brush.
They think they're doing it, but they don't realise.
No, but they don't know he's there. Special doesn't know he's there.
Oh, Special's caught out. No, forced to flash. Has that petrifying gaze. Throws it onto one. The teleport's coming through. Balulu unleashes power onto him. And double teleport coming through. It's going to be Shikari with the Righteous Glory. Chasing down Balulu with the silence. Instantly knocked up on a Flick is now joining in. Great stretching strikes. Kidnapped one back. But Shikari has got one on the menu. That's going to be over to Afflict, and NG dodges out the Arctic Assault. Now the Tongue Lash is here, into the Rupture, into the Barrel Chain, but Chrisberg, running on half HP, is going to try and make his way in, and the teams are going to step away. It's just one kill over the
Misfits, so this means Baron, so this is a very dangerous play, though.
They have the Honey Fruit, they can heal up if they need it.
Big thing there off screen was MTES used his ult to stop Chrisberg's TP, and then NG decided to help out the other side by gifting the Kidnap over. We're now seeing a Baron
Blackfish and M-Test.
That's going to be a Glacial Fissure. Lots of ultis thrown down. Cannon Barrage is running them low, but the Misfits are getting punished. The True Shot Barrage is coming through, and MTest is free auto attacking down. Shikari will fall. Chrisberg is still running away. A piercing arrow, and it's the full ace for Diabolus, and now they want Baron.
And what a team fight from MTest and Flaxish, putting out so much consistent damage throughout. The Varus was untouched, and they managed to not only win the team fight, but they're going to secure the Baron after that ace. Huge play from Diabolus, and this is what they need to cement their place back in this series.
A flicks up in 5 seconds. He's not going to make it here in time. I mean, even the Diabolus are taking a fair amount of damage. They need to be a little bit careful here. NG should be A-okay, though. And Flaxish,
I think smite early for health.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, he's going to be
okay,
he gets the
got
smite.
it.
Yeah, that's fine. The bigger thing is, that was a massive misplay by Misfits because they decided, okay, we get one pick, we can go on to this, ignoring the fact that 2 big carries are still absolutely available for Diabolus. They try to turn it around, but they get chunked out way too quickly.
Yeah, and we'll see that they try and turn on the Anthrax, but a Tom Kench buys so much time. And then the AoE turnaround that comes in from Flaxish's barrels combined with the Zac. The only person they take out is NG, but he is going to regen. And meantime, MTest free auto in that passive, giving him the extra attack speed from getting those kills, and the final cleanup in the end. Chrisberg just not able to put out as much sustained damage as MTest in these closely packed team fights.
And that is kind of, you know, the difference between, you know, the Ezreal and the Varus. If you had Chrisberg on the Varus, I think that fight is very different, but this is why we see the high priority on things like the Varus in this series.
Now, one of the things we do have to note, the difference between last game and this game is, last time Diabolus got Baron, they'd taken so many turrets. They still haven't taken this tier 1 mid, so this will slow down the Baron, but it will allow them to get more global gold, more resources in their bag. But for the moment, Misfits are doing a fairly decent job of defending versus this Baron siege.
Big thing is, Infernal Dragon gonna be up in 10 seconds. Gonna be able to equalize those stats, unless the Flick steals it again, which really, really shouldn't happen. But again, it should have happened those 2 times in the previous game. We'll have to see.
And you
right
can load
now,
the engage.
He's going in.
Looking to go in.
Doesn't actually quite land onto special. Interrupted with the ultimate. Uses the less bounce. Already very, very low, but so there's multiple members on the side of Misfits. There's a barrel they need to be careful of. Special lands the ultimate on the sidelines, but it instantly gets engaged onto NG with no passive. With the stretching strikes, that's going to be 1 over the Misfits. They're still alive, but an unleashed power. It's a 2-for-1, and Flaxish has so much HP. He's flashing forward. He's getting ruptured. He's getting run down, but the rest of Misfits are still going. They are not done. There is no ultimate on Shikari, and now he's the one who could be caught out with a rupture. Saves the rest of his team, but Diabolus find themselves free.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a messy fight. Diabolus 2. Good count.
Okay, yeah. I like that it took you so long to fix it too.
But it's a messy fight. We will see that one again. So initial engage comes out from NG. It's actually really solid disengage from the side of
It's
Misfits.
effectively dodged out, but you can see they can just keep going as Diabolus. They want to keep forcing the fight. The issue is they have the Baron. They should be the ones slowing it down and just looking to siege. Instead, they go for this big engage, knowing that if they win a fight, it is a massive punish.
Big thing there is the silence follows up on NG, then the rupture. So much CC, which forces their main engagers to back out. However, the aggression coming out from Flaxish is great, but MTest then decides to step up so far on special. We don't actually get to see that. Going back to the Infernal Dragon because this is more interesting.
A Flick's in the
Smite
pit.
fight! Smite fight!
Smite. We also have a Flick. Who's going to get it? It's going to be a Flick. That's double Infernal over the side of Misfits as Balulu scatters the weak. Only onto Prospere for the moment, but Special inside the pit. True Shot Barrage cuts through. That's going to be 1 straight over to Special, but it's getting answered back. 2 members of Misfits fall. A Flick goes down, and a scatter the weak is there. It's a double kill. Chrisberg, Arcane shifts back. He is so low and still alive. That's going to be 1 onto Flaxish, and only 1 stands. They get the Infernal, but they lose everybody.
Yet the problem is, though, what can they take from here? Dragon secured by Misfits, Baron off the table, and the waves are pushing against them. They have some time, but the second Infernal on the side of Misfits is a worrying sight. However, they're going to push down this mid lane in a tower. I'm not sure if they can get the inhibitor on top of this. The rest of Misfits respawning
unlikely.
fairly soon.
The respawn timers are going to be there. So overall, trading your inner tower for the Infernal Drake and continued delay of the Baron, that's not the worst trade in the world for Misfits. However, they are still 5k behind. Diabolus still the ones in the lead, the ones forcing these engages.
It's still very worrying. if you're Misfits. You are consistently losing team fights, even when they're favorable to you. This time, you're now going to be starting these team fights out with a little bit extra in the kiddie when you've got the double Infernal Drakes and that Ocean Drake as well. So as we do look towards the 34-minute mark, the Elder Drake is going to be a scary concept for Diabolus. So they want to close out before that objective's even an option. And look at the third Drake. I think it's an Infernal, but I'm also going to not...
Yeah,
I'm not going to commit to that.
It doesn't always show instantly. Big thing is, so this Cassiopeia is only going to get stronger and stronger, has the cap at 6 items, doesn't pick up boots, will be able to stack up so much AP with those Infernal Dragons. However, Crispig on this Ezreal starting to become less and less relevant.
He's got that double tier, so
it is a good plan
to the AP.
Yeah, it makes him stronger in the late game, but he is a champion who does fall off late. We all see it as Cloud Dragon, so is a fairly useful one, because other than Infernal, is one of the only dragons to give something in combat, that movement speed, but not quite as big a surprise as either of those two dragons that Misfits has taken.
But I don't think it's too bad for Misfits, because they're going to be looking to stack up these dragons now at this point, looking towards that Elder Drake win condition.
I mean, the way I always say it is, when you have Infernals, you want the next dragon to always not be an Infernal. Because you picked up 2 for Misfits, you secured them great. You want the next one to not be an Infernal, because all it means is that Diabolus have a chance to equalize. Now, those 2 Infernals have been taken. The next dragon's going to be the last one. You have guaranteed that 16% AD and AP advantage in the pocket, in the bag.
1 minute 30 till the Baron Nashor will be spawning on the Rift, and Misfits don't have any vision control around the area. You can see they're struggling to get in, and Diabolus control this area of the map, control this major objective, which will be the undoing of Misfits if they give it up.
Something big to watch is look at the items in Shikari. I said, wow, he has Warmogs and a Righteous Glory, when Flaxius only had the Triforce. He now has picked up that Spectre's Cowl, and in the meantime, Flaxius has got not only the Star's Gauge, but a Storm Razors as well. This gangplank really starting to come online, and Shikari just not being given as much gold in the late stages, which is understandable. But a big fact you have to look at is there are 3
Yeah!
There are 3 carries on the side of Diabolus, and only 2 on Misfits. And late in the game, that's where it can be a problem when you have another 50% extra damage output.
Let's look at the inventories for Diabolus as well. So many control wards and multiple members. Bad guy Flaxish isn't going to be able to pick one up quite yet, but only 2 members of Misfits are running around with these control wards at the moment, so kind of fighting over the vision of the Baron is going to be a little bit harder. Misfits don't have that vision, don't know where NG is. They're grouped up as multiple people. Very easy for NG to find that big old engage as Crispberg forced to Arcane shift defensively from the Force of Will.
You need to watch NG, though. That's who decides when Diabolus engages, and you can see after that last fight only went evenly, he's very wary of just running straight into the center.
Well, apparently we've got some funky music joining us as well as Baron takes to the Rift. We're going to see Rift Scuttler getting secured up by the side of Misfits, so they've got a little bit of permanent vision, and Special stepping forward with the rest of the team forces NG to jump out, but now there's actually an engage coming through. But Lulu's forced to flash away, and Misfits unable to get themselves a kill, but Anthrax is going to use that Abyssal Voyage. Here comes the Cannon Barrage. Crispberg still full HP. Piercing Arrow. In goes NG though, looking for the interrupt, looking for the ultimate, but he is going to be forced into Cell Division straight away. Misfits working it through in a 5v4 for the moment for Flaxish with a big barrel chain. Doesn't quite clip onto one. Petrifying Gaze by Special is absolutely massive, and NG dives in once again. Crispberg has found the kill. Diabolus are running low, and they're going to be forced to run away with no jungler, and the poke is just too much from Crispberg.
Do not make the same mistake again. Turn on the Baron quickly if necessary, but Misfits win a fight.
They're going to look towards the Baron, but it's risky. Still, the 3 carries of Diabolus are available. Will they be able to fight them off? Crispberg,
okay, you have Flaxish now, much lower than previous time.
Is very, very low. Balulu's there, running low on mana. Scatter the Weak connects onto a couple as Afflict is running.
Afflict can't tag this.
Low. He's going to have to go out. Baron's going to reset. Prosphere takes a little bit more damage, but Misfits now chasing onto Anthrax. There's the piercing arrow. There's the damage.
Oh, what a barrel!
The barrel chain is massive from Flaxish.
Balulu on the
He's
flank.
going in. Flaxish is trying to find the kills. Balulu gets one on the Crispberg, but it's answered instantly back out by Special. Flaxish is running low. Anthrax flashes over the wall with the tongue lash, and it's going to be everybody going down. Misfits, what was that? An overextension and a punish, and Diabolus turn it around.
Yeah, they need to buy some time, though. Anthrax nearly has the Abyssal Voyage. I think the plan should be here. Recall, get some HP and come back. You can see Flaxish is TPing back. Anthrax is recall and has the TP as well from the Summoner's Spellbook. They're looking for this Baron. However, Afflict is alive, and we've seen this man steal a lot of dragons so far in the series. Can he keep a Baron and get it over to his team as well.
They put the ward down so they know he's there. Half HP on Baron. Afflict. This is your hero moment. This is do or die. Gets caught out by the stretching, strikes straight the way, and Afflict is going to get rooted out by the ultimate. He goes in, and he doesn't quite steal it. Afflict goes down, and he tried the play, but Diabolus turned it, and this time, nothing's getting stolen.
You know, we said it shouldn't happen with the Infernal Dragons, but that was when you needed Smite to come in. We are going to look at that team fight, though. Crispig going aggressive onto Flaxish. Again, they're still taking damage from this Baron, and that's why Afflict gets so low. Anthrax ends up being the bait. Look at them chasing, but this is a Tahm Kench support, essentially useless for the team fight, and then an overcommit. Crispig takes so much damage from that barrel, uses Arcane Shift, and a great flank from Bolulu, followed up by the flash in from Flaxish, and it's easy cleanup for these two big AD champions on Diabolus.
You know it's possible to bait Baron. You don't have to start it. You can actually sit in the pit and turn around.
Good spot. But Flaxish, speaking of in particularly not good spots, is getting flanked out. Shikari's going to use that ultimate, sorry, the Righteous Glory. Flaxish taking a fair chunk of damage from Special, has that barrel chain.
Is this going to be the Baron?
But this could just be the base race. It's game one all over again, but the other way around.
The double TP
is forcing to teleport out. They're trying to save the turrets, and it looks like with multiple members returning back to the base, Misfits not going to make the same mistakes Diabolus made in game one, but do lose the inhibitor.
Yeah, and it looks like Diabolus looking to push in that top side.
The size of that wave.
Massive wave and an 11k gold lead. Looks like they're just going to let it shove in and get some control off Misfits jungle. Letting Flaxish push out that boss side before they do anything.
Yeah, not wanting to take the 4v5. They just decide they're going to slow it down. Reset here. Get some more gold into their pockets. Not that they need much more. As you said, 11k in the lead. Diabolus should be comfortably winning these fights, and that's why we're able to see such aggressive turnarounds.
The big thing for me, though, is Special in this Cassiopeia. He now has a Rabadon's Death Cap, puts out so much damage. Yes, Diabolus are stronger, they have 3 carries, they have a massive gold lead, but if this Cassiopeia is able to freely provide damage for the whole fight, that's where things could turn around for Misfits.
Misfits taking a bit of a step back. They can't try that same play. All their teleports are down, all their abilities to get into their base if a backdoor is available is not going to happen. They can't defend versus it. So for now, you're seeing Misfits taking a step back, having a breather, figuring out what the next game plan is.
And that's the thing, Misfits on the defensive side now. They know the Baron's still able for Diabolus. They're looking for a bit of a cheesy play. Death Bush. Will Anthrax and NG step up? That is the question. They have been seeing there was a ward there, but they aren't aware of where Misfits are.
Getting even just one pick for Misfits is going to be so big. Scry's Bloom actually was shot out.
They've seen Special, they've got to
quite catch him. Flaxish stepping forward over the wall, maybe looking for the play, but Lulu throws out the scat of the week. Great block though by Prospect, but now they're looking for the play. Now they're looking for the fight. Special putting the damage down onto Anthrax, but it's caught out by the chains of corruption. Anthrax with the grey health is still going to be available. The turret goes down. Special falls. This is the play. This is the opening for Diabolus need to get, but Crispberg still full HP, still trying to make the play. NG goes in, actually not going to be able to get too much at the moment, but I say that, I am wrong. M-Test is on a rampage, and Bolulu with the unleashed power
so much
almost
damage.
chunks down Crispberg. Snipes not going to be enough, and Crispberg will fall to NG. Diabolus, they're looking for the reverse sweep. This is going to be the base going down, and it's all to play for. 2 apiece.
And Diabolus put it to the game 5. We said we weren't sure if they could bring it back in game 3, but they had a chance. We said game 4 was unfavorable on the red side, but they don't care. They've equalized the series, and they're going into a game 5 where they are planning to win.
That was a really, really hypey game for Diabolus. They managed to bring it back. They managed to be so controlled as well. The big thing is every time Misfits went for a lead, it was just immediately call Baron. A lead is not one pick on a person who isn't that important for the fight.
I mean, I would literally be saying as Zen, I'd be like, right, you guys are no longer allowed to take Baron in this game 5. You're not allowed to start Baron, do anything to do with Baron.
It was so messy.
Ignore it, because every single time they go towards it, that's where they throw the game, that's where the issue is. It was honestly dire play coming out from Misfits. And this is a team who are at match point now, equalizing the series. And the thing is, the momentum is on the side of Diabolus. They are back on that red side, which you said was favorable. They have the momentum, they're feeling confident. Misfits need to bring out this next game if they want to, you know, secure that spot at EU Masters, because Diabolus, they came in as the underdogs against the reigning champions, but right now, gotta say, they're looking like favorites.
The biggest issue I'm seeing is the fact that Chrisberg and Prospero are just not able to hold up against the bot lane. M-Test just looks so strong. He got the Varus twice now as well, and he's just pumping out damage on it. And this, I think, completely turned the dynamic because they managed to use blue side to their advantage because they managed to get that. And once team fights kick off, it just doesn't seem Chrisberg can match it.
Yeah, and I think a big thing I talked about in draft was I felt they should have banned away the Tahm Kench in the early rotation. They didn't, okay? They let it go open. They were like, we're going to adjust a few things to our comp, but overall, they felt confident to take them on this game 4. The Tahm Kench is just such an issue because Varus on his own isn't that big of a problem. You know, you can punish him because he's immobile, but it felt like M-Test was able to play so aggressively because he knew he had this Tahm Kench to back him up. And then on top of that, the Abyssal Voyage just provides so much global pressure. I think they should have banned it away last game. I think they have to ban it away in this game. I would think they're making a big mistake if they don't, but it's down to them because they're going in this game 5, and it's got to shake your confidence so much. You thought you were one game away to being able to say, yeah, we won, celebrate, pick up the trophy, and now they're in a long series. They've made mistakes. They're resting on their mind.
And I think, like, for Misfits, you know, they're feeling like, we should have won this 2 hours ago.
Exactly.
We should be at the pub celebrating right now. But instead, they're still here. They're slugging it out versus Diabolus, who have really picked their feet up in these last 2 games and started to look so much better. Every game there's been a few mistakes here and there, but for the most part, Diabolus have been winning in a very clean fashion. You got to remember, game 1 was Diabolus' game to lose, and Misfits did get that good backdoor off. And, you know, you're now feeling, right, game 1, we messed up. Game 2, I was out of our hands. We got stomped. But game 3 and 4, we were in control. We were the ones in demand. So their mentality going into this has got to be super positive and super ready. They just don't want to go too overboard and maybe just get a little bit too overconfident.
I think a big thing as well is how the players' moods change throughout a series. What happens in the series is always going to affect you in the next game. A big thing is going into the series, we said, Special was the favored matchup in mid over Balulu. We said he is the better player and we expect him to dominate this matchup. And yet in that last game, Balulu gets a solo kill. He gets a big performance on the Syndra, finds a ton of damage in the team fights. And now Special, who was going into the series thinking, I'm confident I can beat this guy, as Leader said, is now thinking, wait a minute, I was confident I could take these matchups and win. It's not happening. It can really shake your confidence going into a game 5 because there is no more second chances.
My point would be that we focus so much on the solo lanes and how the jungles might play around those. So much has happened in the bot lane in favor of Diabolus.
Yeah.
Even in game 2, that went in favor of Misfits, and because of that, the game was completely clean the whole way. It's been really surprising to see how much that duo lane has affected the whole game, especially towards the mid game.
Better bot always wins. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, but we are going to be going to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be finding out whether or not Diabolus have it in them to get that reverse sweep versus the reigning champions, Misfits Academy, or if Misfits can pull it back. So don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this one. We'll see you in a second.